My son asked. Dad, why did Grandma tell me to eat on the floor like a dog? I saw Mom smiling and Dad shrugging. He's too loud for our table. He can eat after we're done. I didn't yell. I just called my lawyer. Yes, the house I bought in their name. My name is Derek. I'm 35 years old, and I'm a cop. You'd think being a police officer would make people take you seriously. On the street, strangers call me sir. At work, rookies look at me like I know everything. But in my family, I'm still the background son. The reliable one. The one who owes everybody because I supposedly had it easier, even though I was the one working double shifts while everyone else slept. My younger brother, Adam, is the golden child. He's 31. Never kept a job longer than a year. Always starting something big. My parents talk about him like he's a misunderstood genius. Me? I'm the boring cop who doesn't understand dreams, but is good for paying bills. I have a son, Noah. He's 7. I'm a single dad. His mom and I split when he was 4, mostly because I was never home and my parents were always in our business. Noah is the one good thing in my life that actually feels like mine. He's loud, curious, asks a million questions. He likes dinosaurs and pancakes and sitting next to me at dinner so he can lean on my arm. My parents moved into a new house 4 years ago. It has white siding, a big porch, and a stupidly perfect lawn. People in the neighborhood think they worked their whole lives for it. Sometimes I correct them in my head. I paid the down payment. I pay the mortgage. I pay the property taxes. Their names are on the mailbox. My name is on every bill. They call it their house. I call it the one very expensive mistake I made out of guilt. The night everything snapped started like any other Sunday dinner. I had just finished a 12-hour shift. Domestic dispute, drunk driver, paperwork that never ends. I picked up Noah from his mom's, still in my uniform, and drove over to my parents. Do I have to be quiet again? Noah asked from the back seat. What do you mean, buddy? I glanced at him in the mirror. Grandma said last time I was too loud at the table. She said good boys eat quietly. He frowned. Am I not a good boy? My chest tightened. You're a great boy, I said. You just be yourself, okay? When we walked in, the house smelled like roast chicken and garlic. My mom, Carol, looked over from the kitchen. Oh, finally, she said. We were waiting. The food's getting cold. Good to see you too, Mom, I muttered. My dad, Mike, was already at the table with a beer. Adam and his wife, Jenna, were there with their 2 kids, sitting right in the middle of the table like they owned the place. Uncle Derek, my niece shouted. Adam laughed. Hey man, still playing hero, still not paying your own rent. I shot back, half joking, half not. He smirked. Relax. It's called family. We sat down. The table was full. My mom had set out the good plates and the nice napkins she always complains are only for special occasions. Apparently, Adam's family counts. Me and Noah? Depends on the day. I went to pull out a chair for Noah next to me, but it was already taken by Adam's daughter. My mom moved fast. Noah, sweetheart, she said, way too sweet. You can sit over there. I looked where she pointed. There was no chair, no place set, just a small cushion on the floor in the corner near the wall, with a plate on the coffee table. Mom, I said slowly. What is that? She shrugged. He's too loud at our table. He can eat over there. Kids like sitting on the floor. I stared at her. He's not a dog. Derek, my dad said, mouth already full. Don't start. We finally have some peace at dinner. Last time he wouldn't stop talking. Let him eat first over there, and then maybe he can join us for dessert. Noah stood there, holding his little dinosaur toy, eyes bouncing between me, the table, and the cushion on the floor. He tugged my sleeve. Dad? He whispered, trying to be quiet like they wanted. Why did Grandma tell me to eat on the floor like a dog? I looked at my son, then at my mom, who was smiling like this was reasonable, then at my dad, who shrugged and took another bite. In my job, I've walked into some awful situations. I've seen bruises, broken bones, kids hiding in closets. I've been trained to stay calm in chaos, to not let my face show what's going on inside. That night, sitting at that glossy table in the house I pay for, looking at my kid being told he wasn't good enough for a chair, something in me went very, very still. I didn't yell. I didn't flip the table. I just put my hand on Noah's shoulder and felt something final click into place. Whatever this was, it wasn't just another rude comment. This was the line. To understand why that one moment broke everything, you have to understand how we got there. I was always the responsible one. The phrase my mom loved when she wanted something from me. Derek, you're the responsible one. Help your brother out. Derek, you're the responsible one. We know we can rely on you. Derek, you're the responsible one. You won't say no. Growing up, Adam and I lived in two different realities under the same roof. When I was 14, I wanted a used bike to get to school faster. My parents told me, get a job if you want extras. So I mowed lawns, walked dogs, delivered flyers until I could buy it. When Adam was 14, he wanted a gaming console. My parents bought it the same week because all his friends have one. If I got a B+, my dad said, you can do better. Don't slack. If Adam got a C, he's under a lot of pressure. School's hard these days. At 18, I went straight into the academy. While my friends partied, I was up at 5 a.m. running, doing drills, swallowing my nerves. My parents called it a phase until they realized it came with a steady paycheck and health insurance. Oh, look at our son, the officer, my mom would say to her friends. He always had a good head on his shoulders. Then she'd lean closer to me afterward and add, it's good you chose something stable. Not everyone is cut out to take risks like Adam. Adam took risks. That's how my parents describe him, blowing through savings on half-finished business ideas. At 22, he crashed his car drunk. My parents called me first, not him. Derek, can you talk to the officer? You're one of them. Maybe they'll go easy on him. I did. I shouldn't have, but I did. I talked, I explained, I vouched. He got a lighter sentence, a fine, mandatory classes. Guess who paid the fine? It's just this once, my mom said, eyes big and wet. We don't have it right now. You're single, you don't have kids. Adam needs a fresh start. It was never just once. Over the years, I paid Adam's fines, his overdue rent, just until he finds a job, his credit card debt, when he forgot about it. Every time, my parents framed it like I was being such a good brother. Every time, I told myself it was the last time. Then came the house. My parents' old place needed serious repairs, roof leaking, mold, outdated wiring. They didn't have the money. My dad's back was bad, my mom's hours got cut. I get it, life happens. I offered to help with part of the cost. My mom heard part and translated it into everything. We found a house, she said one day, sending me 20 photos in a row. It's perfect. Nice neighborhood, good schools for the grandkids. We just need a little help with the down payment. A little help turned into, we got approved because you added your name and income to the application. You can afford it. In the end, the deed went in my name. I paid the entire down payment and every mortgage payment after. They tell everyone they downsized and bought something cozy for retirement. I let them. I thought it made them happy. I told myself it didn't matter who got credit as long as they were safe. Every month, $1,600 came out of my account for their retirement house. Another $300 for their utilities. Another $250 here and there for emergencies. Meanwhile, I lived in a small 2-bedroom apartment with Noah, working overtime to keep up. When my marriage fell apart, my parents barely reacted. If you had listened to us about money, my mom said, maybe she wouldn't have left. They didn't offer help with lawyers. They didn't offer to take Noah for a night so I could sleep. But when Adam's girlfriend dumped him, they called me at 2 a.m. to check on your brother. He's devastated. The older I got, the more I saw the pattern. My money was family money. My time was family time. My feelings were unnecessary. Then last year, the asks got bigger. Derek, my dad said over coffee one Sunday, Adam has a real opportunity now. His friend is opening a bar. They just need investors. I already felt the headache coming. How much? I asked. My mom smiled like she was about to hand me a baby. Only $50,000. That's nothing for a police officer with your salary, right? I laughed. I actually laughed. You think I'm sitting on that kind of cash? I said, I pay your mortgage. I pay your bills. I pay Noah's school fees. Where do you think this magical money is? You're being dramatic, my dad snapped. We raised you. You can help your brother. He's not as lucky as you. Lucky. I thought about my 3 a.m. calls, the scenes I've walked into, the nights I've come home covered in someone else's blood. I thought about Noah asking why I missed his school play again because someone decided to punch their spouse instead. But sure, lucky. Then my mom added, we were thinking, maybe you could add Adam to the house. On paper, you know. So if something happens to you, he can take over. It's only fair. Fair, I repeated. You want me to put Adam on the deed to the house I pay for? She rolled her eyes. It's not just about money, Derek. It's about family. That was the first time I really said no. No, I said. I'm not giving Adam part of the house. I'm not investing in a bar. I'm already doing more than enough. My mom stared at me like I'd slapped her. My dad said, "You've changed since the divorce. You're cold." For weeks after that, every text from my mom had a guilt trip attached. "Your father's blood pressure is up from all this stress. Adam is trying so hard and feels abandoned. We never thought you'd be this selfish." I kept saying no, but they didn't stop pushing. They just shifted strategy. Less asking for big money. More subtle digs. More control over the one thing I still gave them willingly. Access to my kid. Comments about Noah being too energetic. Hints that he should learn his place. Little sighs when he talked too much at dinner. So when my son stood there in their dining room, in a house my paychecks keep standing, asking me why his grandma told him to eat on the floor like a dog, it wasn't just one rude comment. It was everything. I took a slow breath and looked at Noah. "Buddy," I said quietly, "you're not eating on the floor. Ever. Go wait in the hallway for a minute, okay? Take your dinosaur. I'll be right there." He nodded, eyes wide, and walked away clutching his toy. He didn't argue. That hurt more than anything. He already expected to be pushed aside. When he was out of the room, I pulled out the empty chair next to me and sat down. My parents looked confused. "Aren't you going to tell him to come back and sit where we put him?" my mom asked. "No," I said. "I'm not." Adam chuckled. "Dude, relax. It's not that deep. He talks a lot. The girls get overwhelmed. It's just easier if he sits separate and eats first. Kids like picnics. Picnics are outside," I said. "On grass. Not on the floor like a dog in the corner of a room where everyone else gets chairs." My dad set his fork down with a loud clink. "Watch your tone. This is our house." I let that sit for a second. "Is it?" I asked. "Whose name is on the deed, Dad?" He rolled his eyes. "We're not doing this. You put your name because of the bank. Everyone knows it's our house." "Yeah," Adam added. "You already make us feel like tenants when you bring that up." I looked at him. "You don't pay rent." He shrugged. "Still." My mom crossed her arms. "So what is this, Derek? You're upset about a seat?" "Overreacting as usual." "This isn't about a seat," I said. "It's about the way you just humiliated my son." "He wasn't humiliated," she snapped. "He's 7. He won't even remember." "He asked me," I said slowly, "why his grandmother told him to eat on the floor like a dog." The room went quiet for a second. Adam's daughters stopped whispering. Jenna looked uncomfortable but stayed silent. My dad broke the silence. "He is loud, Derek. We can't even hear ourselves think when he's at the table. We cooked, we host, we decide how dinner goes. If you don't like it, you can take him home." There it was. Simple as that. If you don't like it, leave. I stood up, pulled my phone out of my pocket, and walked to the kitchen doorway. I wasn't angry. I was past that. The anger had burned out into something cold and focused. I scrolled to a number I'd saved months ago and never used. "Who are you calling?" my mom demanded. "My lawyer," I said. I stepped just out of sight, but not out of earshot, and hit call. "Hey, Mark," I said when he picked up. "Yeah, it's Derek Collins. Sorry to bother you on a Sunday. Remember that house I told you about? The one I bought and let my parents live in?" He said something on the other end. "Yeah," I said. "I'm ready to move forward with what we talked about. Eviction, transfer, all of it. I want everything in writing. No more verbal agreements. We'll talk details tomorrow, but yeah, I'm done." I hung up and walked back to the table. My mom's face was pale. "What did you just do?" I sat down calm. I set a boundary. "You called a lawyer on your own parents?" my dad barked. "Over what?" "Over us asking your brat to be quiet at dinner." I looked him straight in the eye. "No. Over years of treating me like an ATM and my kid like he's unwanted in a house I pay for." Adam scoffed. "So what? You're going to throw mom and dad out on the street? That's messed up, man." Over one comment. I shook my head. "This isn't about revenge. This is about closure." They all stared at me. "Closure," I repeated. "On me being your walking wallet. On pretending this house is yours while you talk down to me and my son. On acting like I'm lucky to be invited here while my money keeps your lights on." My mom's voice wobbled. "You wouldn't. You're just upset. You always say things you don't mean." I pushed my chair back. "I've never meant anything more," I said. "Here's how it's going to work. Mark will send you papers this week. You'll either sign a proper rental agreement with actual rent and terms, or you'll have 90 days to move. Either way, the pretending stops." My dad's face went red. You ungrateful. After everything we've done for you. You raised me, I said. I didn't ask for that. You didn't do it for free. You've been charging me interest my whole life. Adam stood up, fists clenched. You're not the only one with problems, Derek. We need this house. My kids, your kids, I cut in, are always welcome at my place. My son will not set foot here again. My mom gasped. You're taking our grandson away? No, I said. You did that when you told him to eat on the floor like an animal. I walked to the hallway. Noah was sitting on the bench, legs swinging, holding his dinosaur tight. Hey, buddy, I said softly. We're going home. Did I do something bad? He asked. No, I said. You didn't do anything wrong. Some adults just forgot how to be kind. He slipped his hand into mine without another word. We walked out of the house I paid for. No one followed us to the door. No one tried to stop us. For the first time in my life, when I drove away from my parents' place, I wasn't hoping they'd call and apologize. I was hoping my lawyer would. The first paper came 3 days later. I was at my kitchen table, helping Noah with his spelling homework, when an email notification popped up from Mark. Subject line, draft notice and rental agreement, Collins property. Attached were 2 documents. The first, a formal notice stating that as legal owner of the property, I was ending the informal living arrangements and offering 2 options, a signed lease at a fair market rate, or a move-out date 90 days from receipt. The second, a straightforward rental contract. No tricks, no hidden fees, just boundaries in black and white. I read every line twice, then hit approve. 15 minutes later, my phone started blowing up. Mom, call me right now. Dad, what is this crap you sent us? Adam, dude, what the hell? By the time I got Noah into bed, I had 24 missed calls and 37 messages in the family group chat alone. I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I texted my mom directly. Derek, I will only discuss this in writing. You can sign the lease or move in 90 days. I will not argue. She replied in seconds. Mom, after everything we did for you, you are kicking us out. Mom, your father is sick over this. He hasn't eaten all day. Mom, you are choosing money over family. I put the phone face down on the counter and went to do the dishes. At work, things felt almost normal. I wrote reports, responded to calls, grabbed bad coffee with my partner, Malik. He noticed I was quieter than usual. You good, man? He asked one night in the patrol car. Yeah, I said. Just finally treating my family like strangers. He raised an eyebrow. That bad? I told him the short version. The house. The floor. The lawyer. He whistled. Damn. You finally did it. Did what? Stopped letting them treat you worse than people we arrest, he said. Proud of you, man. The calls didn't stop. My dad tried a different angle. Dad, I don't know what poison your therapist put in your head. Dad, men don't act like this. You're supposed to take care of your parents. Dad, when we are gone, you'll regret this. I typed and deleted at least 5 responses. Finally, I wrote, Derek, taking care of you does not mean letting you abuse my kid. This is not up for debate. He left me on read. Then the extended family started. An aunt I hadn't spoken to in months sent a long text about honoring your mother and father. My grandmother left a voicemail crying, saying she heard I was making my parents homeless. My parents had clearly given everyone the edited version. Ungrateful son throws his aging parents out over nothing. No one mentioned Noah. No one mentioned the house payments. No one asked for my side. I thought about calling everyone and explaining. Then I stopped. If they could hear he kicked us out and not even ask why, they weren't really on my side anyway. 2 weeks after the notice, my mom finally agreed to meet. She insisted it be at a cafe near their house. I agreed, with one condition. Noah doesn't come, I said. This is between us. So I went alone. She was already there when I arrived, sitting with her arms crossed, untouched coffee in front of her. She looked smaller somehow, but her eyes were sharp. Sit, she said, like I was still a teenager. I sat. How could you do this to us? She started immediately. To your own parents? I kept my voice steady. You know exactly how. She scoffed. Because we told your son to sit on a cushion? You're ruining the family over a cushion. You told him to eat on the floor like a dog, I said. In a house I pay for. After years of taking my money and treating me like an obligation. This isn't just about that night. We were joking, she snapped. He wasn't laughing, I said. She threw her hands up. You're overreacting. You always overreact. Adam thinks. I don't care what Adam thinks, I said, cutting her off. This isn't about Adam. This is about you and Dad and me. For a second, she looked actually offended that I refused to send her Adam. You think you're better than us now, she said. Because you wear a uniform. Because you have money. You forget who gave you everything. You didn't give me everything, I said quietly. I worked for most of it. And what you did give me, you've been charging me for my whole life. She shook her head. So that's it. You throw us out. No, I said. I gave you a choice. Sign the lease or move. I'm not throwing you anywhere. I'm just done pretending this is your house, and I'm your ATM. She stared at me for a long time. You know we can't afford that rent, she said finally, voice small for the first time. Your father's pension isn't enough. Adam is still getting on his feet. I nodded. I know. So you're fine with us being homeless? Living under a bridge? She started crying, messy, loud tears that used to make me panic as a kid. Now they just made me tired. You have options, I said. You can move to a smaller place. Sell your car. Adam can actually get a job and keep it. You all have choices. So do I. You're punishing us, she said. No, I repeated. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. I'm closing the chapter where I sacrifice my kid's self-worth so you can live comfortably and call it love. She wiped her eyes with too much force. We won't sign. Then you have 90 days, I said. I stood up. Mom, I added, I love you. But I will not let you hurt Noah to keep up this fantasy. He deserves better than growing up thinking being treated like a dog is normal, because family. She didn't answer. As I walked out, my phone buzzed. It was a photo from my ex, Sarah. It was Noah at her place, grinning, covered in flour, standing on a stool next to the kitchen counter. Noah helped make cookies. He says he can't wait for pancake sundaes at your place. He asked if he can sit at the head of the table, lol. I stared at the photo for a long second. Yeah, I thought. He can. The next weeks were messy. My parents tried ignoring the notice. Mark sent another one. Adam texted me drunk at 2 a.m. saying he'd never forgive me if they had to move. I wrote back one line. You don't have to forgive me. You just have to move. After that, I blocked his number. Slowly, the messages tapered off. The gossip died down. The world kept turning. At home, things got quieter in a good way. No more rushing to their house for every minor crisis. No more sending money, just this once. No more watching Noah shrink in his chair because he was too loud. Sunday dinners became just me and him at my small table. 2 chairs, 2 plates, no cushion. Can I sit here? He asked the first time, pointing to the seat at the end. You can sit wherever you want, I said. He picked the head of the table. It's been 6 months. My parents ended up moving in with Adam. He never did open that bar. Last I heard, he's working part-time at a warehouse, still calling himself an entrepreneur. They send the occasional message from new numbers. Guilt. Scripture. Photos of family gatherings I'm not invited to, with captions like, we miss you, that somehow always end with, you can fix this anytime. I don't respond. I adjusted the mortgage, so it's just another bill now. A stupid one, yeah? An expensive lesson. But a lesson I needed. I changed my will. Everything I own goes to Noah. Not the house my parents lived in. Not Adam. Not anyone who thinks love means unlimited access. Sometimes, late at night, I think about my mom's face at that cafe. Or the way my dad used to laugh when we watched games together before everything turned into a scoreboard of debts. I won't lie and say it doesn't hurt. It does. But the hurt is cleaner now. Not tangled up with shame and obligation. The other day, Noah and I were eating dinner. Just mac and cheese and some chicken. Nothing fancy. He was telling me about a kid at school who barks in class to make people laugh. That's weird, I said. Yeah, Noah giggled. Then he looked serious. Dad, I'm glad we don't go to Grandma's anymore. Yeah. I tried to keep my voice neutral. Why is that? He shrugged. I like our house better. I get a chair. And you listen to me, even when I'm loud. I swallowed. That's never going to change, I told him. You always get a chair at my table. He smiled and went back to his food, humming some cartoon song off key. I watched him and thought about that night again. The cushion on the floor. The look in his eyes when he asked if he was bad. If I had stayed quiet, he would have learned something from that. Not just about my parents, but about me. About what he should expect from people who say they love him. He would have learned that love means swallowing humiliation to keep the peace. Now he's learning something else. That love has boundaries. That respect is not optional. That you are never, ever supposed to eat on the floor like a dog just to make someone else comfortable. This isn't a revenge story. I didn't burn their house down. I didn't expose them online. I didn't show up at every family event screaming about what they did. I signed papers. I blocked numbers. I walked away. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. I told them that once. It still is. I can't fix the kid I used to be, sitting quietly while my brother got everything and I got told to be grateful. But I can protect the kid sitting at my table now. And that's enough. I won't let anyone, parents, siblings, family, teach my son that he's less than. Not while I'm still breathing. Not while I'm still paying the bills. My name is Derek. I'm 35. I'm a cop. I'm a dad. And for the first time in my life, I'm not the background son anymore. I'm the man who finally pulled the plug on a lifetime of debt I never actually owed. So